All right, so I'm here today with Tight Shirt Terry Warfield. Thank you,
Yes,
Terry,
sir.
so much for being on the Golden Hour podcast tonight. We're recording this 9 o'clock my time. I believe it's 10 o'clock your time over there.
10:02.
How many times have we scheduled and rescheduled this interview?
I think probably like six. Like four was your fault and two was my fault. So, but
Yeah, for my fault, for sure. I mean, for those of you who don't know, I have kind of been going through a whirlwind personal journey over here, moving back home to Nashville from Los Angeles. You're looking at my new studio. It's a work in progress. I literally just put some plants in the background and turn on some lights. There's
tho-
nothing going on here.
those are the YouTuber plants.
These are the IKEA plants that everybody has. Literally every single YouTuber has these plants. And if you
Yep.
don't know what I'm talking about and you want to look at Terry's tight shirt, make sure to go over to YouTube and check out our new Golden Hour podcast YouTube channel. You can see Terry's tight shirt and my IKEA plants.
Hey, well, thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it. I've been a huge fan of yours for some time, so it's pretty dope to get an invitation from you, and I'm happy to be on here.
Dude, that's very humbling and flattering. Thank you very much.
For sure.
So tell me about yourself, man, because like I feel like you kind of came out of nowhere and became a part of our awesome camera filmmaking community. At least to me, you kind of got on my radar through Twitter. You were kind of responding to a couple of my tweets, and I was like, wait a minute, this guy knows what he's talking about. And I started looking at your stuff, and YouTube started suggesting stuff. Where do you come from? What are you, a filmmaker, photographer? How did you start this journey on the internet as a content creator?
All right, so my name is Terry. Obviously, I am, how old am I? 35. And I wear a lot of different hats. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a photographer, I'm a indie filmmaker. So, I make short films here and there. I do pick up like client projects and stuff like that
It's awesome.
when they come. I still work a 9 to 5 as a mortgage loan processor.
Wow,
I'm a gym rat, and yeah, I do a lot of different stuff, man.
that's awesome,
Excuse me.
dude. You should do a finance channel.
It's actually coming,
I mean,
but it's like,
right now
yeah,
more than ever, right?
it's gonna be a different type of finance channel because like right now everybody's starting finance channels because
Yeah.
stocks are hot. But I'm actually looking to pursue entrepreneurship again. So, obviously YouTube is a revenue stream, AdSense is a revenue stream, affiliates, all of those affiliate streams, but I need something that's super solid too. So I'm actually pursuing becoming a notary signing agent.
Oh wow.
And, from it kind of fits into the same income based type of genre that stocks and things do. But I'm going to be documenting my journey on that. So I'm waiting for my test results to come back. And as long as they give me the go, then that will be my second channel. But to answer your question,
Wow. Congrats on that. I mean, well,
thanks, man.
I guess it's a little ahead. You gotta get accepted first, right, or whatever. So
I mean, it's just a lot of money you got to put up. Not a lot of
okay.
money, but
It's
it's an
not
investment.
it's
You got to
not
take
a-
a couple tests.
Okay, a couple tests.
It's not like a secret society or anything like that.
It's not like the Illuminati over here.
Right. But basically, for like mortgages, refinances, the banks need notaries, and you get paid like $150 a signing. So it's consistent money for those months that YouTube
Yeah.
dips. You know what I'm saying? So,
Well-
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, you don't meet many photographer filmmakers that are also in the finance sector. Like, what's going on there? I mean, have you always had a passion for both of these different career paths?
No, I hate it. So, like to be honest, my passion has always been cameras, photography, films and stuff like that. And I actually tried to run a business off of it about 8 to 9 years ago, but obviously I was young, ill-informed. I had a period where I was making a ton of money, and then the slow season hit, and then everything disappeared, and the bills still had to be paid.
Yeah.
And I lost everything. So it was a learning experience. But that's where my passion has always been: film and photography, and obviously the gym. I love camera gear, love working out. Those are two things that, despite no matter what I do, Those two things I always have a passion for. So am I a photographer, filmmaker? Yes. I used to do wedding photography. I used to do wedding films. I don't really do wedding stuff anymore just because like I love creating when I want to create.
Yeah.
And I don't like being under that pressure. You know what I'm saying? So
Oh yeah, man, I'm
yeah.
right there in that same boat. I shot weddings for about 8 years, and that's about 7 years too much.
Yes, it's a lot of pressure, man. A lot of pressure. Good money, but it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
So
it's consistent work. You know,
For
you
sure.
get your reps in, if you will, as a filmmaker. We were shooting 3 a week sometimes. It was nuts.
I was only doing probably at my busiest like 5 or 6 a month, but it was just me. You know what I'm saying? So I
That's
didn't have
crazy.
a crew or anything like that.
Yeah.
But again, I kind of got away from it, and now I just do like stuff like creative projects that I want to do. You know, obviously if I get gigs from referrals and stuff like that, I pick them up. But how did I like transition that into YouTube? I actually used to do like phone reviews and stuff like that, and like it just got to a point where I just felt like I was always like competing with people for views and who can get the phone first, and everybody and their mother is a tech reviewer nowadays. And it was just
true.
like, when I dropped the phone review, there was 40,000 other ones. And I was like,
Sure.
even though I love gadgets, the one thing that I never get sick of, I get sick of phones all the time. I got like 4 right now, but I never get sick of cameras, because to me, it's something about being able to press a freaking button and you capturing that moment in time. And you can always go back, no matter what's going on in today's world or in your future world, and relive that moment. And that concept of cameras is just so amazing to me. I just love how complex they are. So to answer your question, how did I get into like the camera and film space? I just kind of pivoted, yo. I was sick of making phone videos, and it's a double-edged sword, because the phones drop every 6 months, every 7 months. So it's like you got consistent content because there's always a new phone dropping, so there's always content to make. Cameras, not so much. But I just felt like the camera space is really where I wanted to be. It was far less toxic, I'll be honest. And that's where my passion is. And to me, it was a challenge because I'm being totally transparent. Like, looking at our YouTube field, there's not a lot of people that look like me. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it was like, I know maybe they haven't seen something like me. A lot of people may not like it, but I'm up for the challenge, and that's how I got here.
Man, I like it. A lot of our friends like you. A lot of people starting to follow you, discover you. I'm stoked for your future, and hopefully this show will bring some more fans as well your way. You mentioned it wasn't as dramatic or as toxic as the tech space. Can you elaborate on that? What do you mean by that?
All right, so there's like, now don't get me wrong, there's some toxic people in the camera space too. But what I used to see, like, okay, everybody has a preference. You got people that love iPhones, you got people that love Android phones, and people will literally like dog each other out. Like, I used to see comments like, MF and this, and I'm not gonna, obviously say that stuff on your podcast, but like,
Yeah, it's a clean show.
Yeah. So, like, dude, these are cell phones, and y'all are arguing. But I used to try, put up a video, and it may be a Samsung video, and then here come all the iPhone people, talking crap. This video sucks. You suck. Switch to Apple. And I just found that even though you do get some people, if you have a Sony preference or Canon or Panasonic, I think people are much, much less toxic with cameras.
Yeah,
and
bunch of nerds.
I mean,
Well, I mean, nerds are over in the tech space, though. What's different
They
about
are.
us? Like, maybe we're artistic nerds. Maybe that's it.
I don't know. I think it's that's a good question. I really think it's like in the tech space. Maybe it's because people are so close to their phones because they use them so much. People get emotionally attached to their decisions. So if I picked an iPhone and I'm this iPhone hardcore user, and some dude come in my comments talking about Android or whatever the case may be, I think people take it a lot more personal for whatever reason. I also think that cameras, a lot of people predicate, at least with phones, their opinions based off of like what's the newest and greatest. You know what I'm saying? With cameras, not so much
It's
because
true.
cameras don't come out as often. And sometimes a lot of people who are shopping for cameras, they don't want to buy the newest stuff because of the cost. So
Yeah.
they're looking at maybe a camera that came out 2 years ago or 3 years ago. And I just feel like I don't know, people are not as emotionally connected
Yeah.
to their cameras, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
versus a phone.
Yeah, you've got, again, you do have some fanboys out there of certain, manufacturers, but also the thing about cameras is it can go all the way back to like film days when the cameras were handmade. They're practically jewelry. Like a Leica, a 1964 Leica camera is like just an incredible piece of art in of itself. So you have that as well. I mean, it's I don't know. It's interesting though that you say that. Maybe it's just because there's millions of people interested in the phone world, and so there's just more people.
Yeah, I think that's a good point too. Literally every person has a camera. I mean, a phone.
Yeah, it's insane how many
Yeah.
people have phones. Even people in third world countries have them. It's kind of their main source of payment. It's the way that everything's done these days. It's nuts. So I'm scrolling back on your channel about a year or so, and I see just a real focus, a lot of great thumbnails. It seemed like you started to really take this YouTube thing seriously. What happened? What was it that got you kind of in the right direction on your channel that has caused this recent growth?
All right, so it's kind of twofold. The first thing is I started like paying attention to other channels, and what I would do is like, all right, I'm doing a video about something. I would look at what everybody else is doing, and I would be like, yo, like how can I get my thumbnail to stand out over theirs? Part of that is attributed to I have a quote unquote kind of clique. With three guys. It started out with me, CJ Knows Tech. You probably, or you may have seen his name.
Yeah.
C Kid Tech. He does like raps and also Tech Gear Talk as of recent. And what we do is we do like a lot of analysis and we do a lot of research with how do we get people to click our videos versus everybody else's. And what we found is it's two major things, and that's the thumbnail, because it's like your magazine cover, and the title. So what used to frustrate me is I used to do like these motivational vlogs, right? And
Yeah.
even though I loved them, people loved them, they would never get discovered because obviously they weren't searchable, and the titles weren't anything that people would click on or search for. So I just started changing, like I just shifted my mindset, like how do I get people to click this?
Yeah.
The thumbnail I think is probably the most important thing, because if you spend 10 hours making a video but nobody clicks on it, then what good is the video?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where I kind of shifted. But also there were a couple things that happened, like Casey Neistat found me a while ago, and he invited me out to New York, and it was huge. And at that point, I'm like, yo, what I'm doing obviously may be working, so maybe I need to put a little bit more effort into it, because
Thank
a
you.
lot of people were starting to notice. So at that, I think that was like the turning point where I was like, all right, if Casey is hitting me up and only got like 6,000 subs, like I gotta be doing something right.
All right, hold on.
just-
You got to elaborate on that. What's that story with
Okay,
Casey?
so it was I was on Twitter one day and was doing my usual, and I made a whole vlog about it, but Casey is actually one of my good friends now. We text all the time. But it was one day I was on Twitter. I mean, I wasn't on Twitter. When I woke up in the morning, there were like a ton of people like, Terry, check your DMs. Casey is looking for you. And I'm like, what? And he was like, yeah, dude, I found one of your videos and I would love to invite you to New York. I'm having a creators like Thanksgiving and I would love for you to be a part.
Dude, it's
And it was huge to me because, obviously knows who Casey is. Everybody knows who Casey is, but it was the first taste of like a person or company. It was Casey partnered with 368 and Samsung.
awesome. Yeah.
And it was my first taste of like, yo, this flight is paid for. Getting picked up in the limousine, and you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, this is ridiculous that these type of opportunities are out here. So it was that kind of like, oh man, it's go time. I gotta take this serious.
Did that give you like that affirmation that you were needing at the time to like say, you know what, I think I got this. I should go for it.
It was huge because part of it, like, starting out, especially when you don't fit the quote unquote mold, I don't look like everybody else. I don't have the same type of content. When people like look into the YouTube camera space, you got to be honest, like a lot of the content looks the same. A lot of the people look the same. So I was a little bit hesitant at first, but it's like when I have 5,000, 6,000 subs, and what I'm doing right now is working to a point where Casey is asking me to come, like, okay, then maybe what I am doing is the right way to do it.
Yeah.
Or at least the starting point. You know what I'm saying? So that was really affirmation for me that, yo, you can kind of, and this is like, I always encourage people, like, do it your way. You are the product. It's cool for you to be unique. It's cool for you to be different. It's cool for you to not be like everybody else. And for me, that was affirmation that, and that's no shade to the people that obviously want to do it however they want to do it. But for me, it was like, yo, this is affirmation that you can do it the way you want to and still be successful at it.
Yeah, exactly. I think the most important thing to remember is when you look at any niche on YouTube, there's probably plenty of people doing that niche already. The one thing that makes you stand out is yourself. What makes you unique? And
Exactly.
That's what attracted me to your channel and several others, and obviously Casey Neistat. That's crazy. I did not know that story. That's awesome.
Yeah, the vlog is still on my channel.
Awesome. We'll link that in the description of the video and of course in the show notes of the podcast. So it started kind of, I guess, around that time period. That affirmation, I'm sure, really encouraged you to get going, and then you just kind of went for it, huh? Like, did you create a schedule? Did you start scripting your stuff? Did you start treating it like a job, or was it just something you're doing on the side while maintaining a full-time job and being a dad?
So I have to do it kind of on the side because I have a huge family between me and my wife. We both came into it with kids. We have our own child together. So we have 5 kids total.
Dude.
So it's a struggle because, you got to still work.
Yep.
There's always something going on with the kids. They in practice. They doing this. They doing that. So I have to find
I got 2 kids too, man. I know the drill. It's crazy.
Yeah, imagine how difficult it is with 2. Now multiply that times another 2 and add another one. I mean, exactly. Multiply it by 2
multiply
and add
it by
one.
2 plus 1.
Plus 1. Right. So it's challenging, yo. It's very challenging, but I don't really follow a schedule because it's hard for me to maintain a schedule. Like, I can't always promise I can drop a video Monday night. I can't always, you know what I'm saying? So It's more so like when I can find time to create, which I make time to create. If you want something, you make time for it. So I make time for it. But yeah, I don't script videos. Like, obviously, I think why people gravitate towards me is because it's not scripted. Mm-hmm. Like, a lot of times I'm making videos, I'm going right off the top of the head. Don't get me wrong, I might have bullet points I want to hit, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
I don't script videos because, for me at least, I don't go on YouTube looking for TV. I'm going in there to see personalized people making mistakes. Like,
that's right.
I'm going on there for personalities, not to get produced content. So I try to, obviously keep it saucy, but also keep it authentic. And saucy is a word I like to use to, my videos looking good. Yeah. But I try to keep it authentic and also informative at the same time. But yeah, I don't script, and I try to at least drop 1 video a week. Sometimes 2 if I can, but if I can drop 1 at least a week, I'm happy. I want to do more, but I can't. So,
No, dude, I mean, good for you. That's awesome. I've been taking kind of a break this month. I'm probably not going to post a video for at least another month or 2. I haven't taken a break in 3 years, so I'm using this transition to kind of chill for a little bit and figure out what I want to do next. But yeah, I'm already kind of getting used to not uploading every week, and it's easy to, especially with kids, like, not upload anything.
You know what's crazy is we put that pressure on ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's true.
Ever since I started YouTube, like, I feel uncomfortable if I'm sitting around, like, on a Friday night where I just want to play video games. I turn the PlayStation on and I'm like, man, I could be filming something. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's crazy how much pressure we put on ourselves.
One nice side benefit being a dad in this space is you have all this gear to take pictures of your kids with and video with your kids. What's your kind of like go-to home video documentation camera for you?
I still use Probably the most, my phone, out of convenience.
It's so convenient. It's
It's
gotten
so
so good
convenient.
too.
Yeah. But if I have to pick a camera, it's usually the reason I don't use my camera is because my kids are at that age where if they see a camera, they put on an act. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
oh, they like daddy's filming. Let's try to be funny. You know what I'm saying? And I don't like that. So I've been working on, like, I just bring the camera out and I'm actually not filming. I'm just holding it like I'm filming and try to get them used to it. But typically it's my A7 III.
Nice. Yeah, I can relate as well. I mean, I have the iPhone, but I've actually I don't know. I'm kind of ridiculous. I'm using the C70 to film my kids. I'm shooting it at 4K, 10-bit, 60, C-Log 2. I've decided that 60 frames per second is what I want to do to document. I hate it for like cinematic stuff, but to see like the motion of the kids, it feels like, it feels like you're there. So, I've always been the reason I brought up that question is because I've always kind of used the gear that I'm reviewing on the side to take pictures of my kids because I don't know, I just like doing it. But the problem is I end up like with the camera instead of with my kids. So, but one of the videos that you've posted recently that I wanted to talk about is about a friend of mine, Josh Yeo, who is a friend of the show, friend of the podcast. He's been on about a year and a half ago, and we're actually trying to book him, this month or so to try to get him to talk about Anamorphia 2. But you posted a video titled "I Quit After Watching Anamorphia 2," and in the piece, you talk about how excited you were about it, but also kind of how it made you feel as a creative. It's kind of like, dang, that was so good. I can never measure up to that, or
Right.
just that feeling. I feel like a lot of creators have felt that, and Josh actually responded in a very just deep comment. It's like 7 paragraphs.
Gave me goosebumps, man.
Yeah, he kind
We
of like
actually
laid his
sparked
heart
up
out.
yeah, he did. We sparked up a conversation on Instagram after that.
Oh, perfect.
So we're supposedly going on a live stream next month on my channel, but he's got a lot going on too. But
Yeah, he's a new
yeah,
dad over there.
yeah, it was crazy to see like how much, and it was like such a contrast to me because you see this amazing freaking production, and then it's kind of like the person. It reminds me of Joker out of Dark Knight. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
not to that extent, but this presentation was so good that in turn it kind of destroyed the person who made it. And that's why, to me, like when I saw Josh's response, I was like, man, like dude could have just not responded at all, but instead, like he really sat here for everybody to see and put everything on the table. And for me, that was I have so much respect for him for that. It was crazy, yo.
That's awesome that it kind of sparked a friendship. I love the guy. We talk fairly regularly, and like he is just one of the most authentic, like just real down to earth dudes out there. And he definitely highly like just deserves everything that he's
For
gotten
sure.
as a creator. He's one of the most just out there creative guys in our niche. And Anamorphia 2, if you haven't seen it, you should definitely go see it. But then also go check out Terry's video, because I think a lot of us can relate to that. I mean, what are your kind of takeaways now that you posted that video? You got 141 comments on the video, so a lot of other people can relate. Like, what are your takeaways after expressing that? Obviously, at the end of the film, you say a line. Just because you see something else great doesn't mean you aren't great yourself. Yeah, I mean, just elaborate on how you feel after watching Anamorphia 2.
Honestly, I felt I kind of feel empowered because a lot of creators felt the same way. Even I know just by watching his own video. That's why I put a few clips of other people's comments from his video. Sometimes I feel like greatness will inspire some people and also put down other people. And it really depends on your mindset, right? So the purpose for me making that video was to I think the emotion of wanting to, or I think the emotion of feeling deflated after seeing something so great. You know, you might watch a Michael Jordan or a LeBron. You might watch him drop 60 points, right? And then if you a hooper, you probably like, man, I could never be LeBron. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like, that doesn't mean that you're still not a great basketball player. And for me, that video was to help transitions people's mindset into like taking that negative thought and repurposing that and turning it into creative energy. So like for me, seeing how many people, I wasn't even gonna put that video out, honestly. I sent it to Tech Gear Talk, my guy Siggy, and he was like, dude, put it out. But I'm like I wasn't gonna put the video out just because I'm like, man, people ain't gonna like this. You know what I'm saying? And when I put it out and I saw everybody like, yo, this was amazing, and all the comments and stuff, the reason I say it makes me feel empowered, because sometimes I think we need to act on stuff that we feel like is not good, or we may be uncomfortable with putting out there, because you never know how good it might possibly be. So for me, after putting that video out, seeing all the positive comments, it makes me feel more comfortable when I do have these vulnerable emotions creatively, or as a father, maybe putting that out there because other people can use that as motivation. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was super empowering. And then to see Josh, you know, basically like, yo, this was dope. You know, that's obviously, I look up to him creatively. So, you know, that was dope.
Yeah, I think as a YouTuber, you want to try to like talk about things that people are searching for, and that's what you talked about earlier in our interview. You know, doing things that people are looking for, but it's also, as a filmmaker, as a storyteller, it's important to tell stories and to be yourself. And what YouTube really lends us as creators is the ability to really connect with the audience on a very personal level. That's the difference between YouTube and television, is that people forget YouTube is a social media, just like how Instagram, Twitter, Facebook is. And, you know, if you were feeling down about something, you could post a tweet and people can comment on it. That's essentially what you did. You made a 1 minute and 59 second, you know, status update, you know, on your channel.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which is really awesome. A beautiful one, because it's actually very cinematic and really well made.
Thanks, man.
So I would encourage you to continue to do that, because I think, like, even though the numbers on the video probably won't get, you know, what an A7S III review would get, it builds that core audience of people who actually like you for you. And I think that's the real challenge as a gear and tech reviewer, to kind of get the audience to actually be on your side and to be your friend, not just there for the content. That's kind of the balance, and I think you're hitting the nail on the head there about being more vulnerable with people. You know, it's easier said than done, though, right?
Yeah, it is. So I know for one thing, I found like with tech and gear, like people are only coming to get what information they want, and then they out. You know what I'm saying? So,
exactly.
Like, what I try to do is, like, if I might make 2 or 3 tech videos in a row, but then the next video is something I want to do. And it's just for like my own therapeutic purposes. But it's always a challenge because you put all that work into it, like you said. Like, for example, that video I made about Anamorphia 2, and for like, it got 1.8K views. That's nothing, you know, compared to a tech video. And it's always difficult because you want to make stuff like that. Obviously, you want it to be successful, but you know it's not going to perform as well as a gear video because nobody's searching for it. So I do encourage people, like, you know, it is challenging to get found based off of your films, but maybe like do a tech review and another tech review, and then do 2 for you and 2 for them and 1 for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A good balance.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, here you are now about 2 years into this, like, you're able to do this, and you do have an audience now that will watch it and give it legs. And your channel has been hooked into the algorithm at this point, so they'll serve it to people. If you're starting out and you're doing vlogs, which you were doing 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, you know, and what I have also done in my early days, and other people, especially like when Casey Neistat was big, everybody was kind of emulating the vlog, uh,
Daily vlog.
the daily vlog, but
Yep.
nobody cared because we weren't Casey.
Exactly.
You know, now that you've established yourself, you can do that. So, you know, just be self-aware enough of that. But again, as an artist, like you can choose to do whatever the heck you want. And that's one of the things that Josh mentioned in the comment again on there is that his channel is really made for him. He's only making videos for himself. And that's very unique, honestly, on YouTube. A lot of creators that I've interviewed on this show treat it as a business, as a science. I think Matty Apoya actually told me in our podcast that he sees it as a science and not art in any way. And then I
Interesting.
brought that up to someone else, and they were like, "That's silly. That's dumb." You know, so like, it just depends on the creator, really.
I mean, it is a science. I guess it just like it's a numbers game. It's mathematics. It's science. I guess it's just if you want to think about that stuff or not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you have people who get super in depth into the numbers and the science, but they still don't see growth like a person who maybe doesn't pay attention to it at all. So I think it really just, what basket do you want to put your eggs in?
Exactly. One of the things that I noticed on your videos is that you do have a really sick setup. It looks like you got like, I don't know, a spare bedroom or corner in your house. When did you like designate that? And, I just like to bring this up because I think a lot of people starting out struggle with getting everything set up. Like, how did you begin to build out your YouTube studio?
I was actually upstairs in our sunroom, and it was a time where I had an iMac up there. I had 2 cameras up there, and I was just thinking, like, if somebody ever breaks into my house, like, it's just right there for them to take. So, and also I hated the sound because it was just a huge open room. So we have a basement. My wife is super good with like, it's crazy. Like all my friends laugh at me because she's good at building stuff and I suck at it. But she has her own YouTube channel where she builds like arts, crafts, tables, desks.
What's her channel? Let's shout it out.
Her YouTube channel, she doesn't really post a lot on YouTube. It's more so Instagram. It's home, period, by, period, 20, the number 4, HR, mom.
Got it.
Home by 24-hour mom.
Oh,
yeah,
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, she's dope. So this L desk that I have, this huge wooden L desk, she built everything.
Wow.
But I used to see people like my guy C Kid Tech. Like I got inspired by his setup. Like he took like a week and redid his whole office in there. I'm like, man, I got to at least look something like that.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm not really happy with how it looks. I just kind of work with what I have and use light to my advantage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think like for people who are starting out, like just get the core stuff. You need to start with lights more than anything. You can have the best camera. You can have an A7S III, but if you don't have lights to make your scene look good, like lights, audio, and then you build out from there.
Yeah, exactly.
Then get your camera, cheap RGB stuff. But fortunately, I have had a couple companies sponsor some stuff. Like Elgato has sponsored a ton of stuff. I'm using their lights right now. But yeah, it's still a work in progress. I wish I could have a dedicated space, but right now I can't.
Oh yeah, totally. I think it's important to have flexibility. I mean, I'm using this room right now, but it's also a guest room. So like, there's actually a bed right next to me here. So
nice.
when we have guests over, I'm going to clear all this out and then they can stay here. But that'll be awkward if I have to do a podcast while they're sleeping. But
that would be a little bit awkward, just a tad.
But yeah, I think having it as turnkey as possible is pretty essential to. At least for me, it just really made me have a lot more ease about being a YouTuber because it's like you just sit down, turn the lights on, turn the camera on, hit record, and just go. You don't have to like set everything up. And I know it's like a little thing, but just setting the lights up and the audio, like just those 20, 30 minutes kind of annoy me enough to not do it and not create. I don't know. That's just me though.
I think my biggest challenge is my kids, man. Like, they know when I'm coming in the basement that I'm coming to work, so they always want to make appearances, and it always seems like as soon as I start recording, they turn up. They get
Yeah, I mean, how do you do it? Do you shoot at like late at night or something?
Yeah, typically I wait till they go to bed. Or I'll go upstairs and I tell them all, you better shut up or you're going to be on punishment. But, they kids, so I try not to put that on them. Kids are going to be kids, so I typically just wait.
What's the age range with all them?
6 through 17.
Oh my gosh.
It's 7, 9, about to be 11, and one is about to be 18.
And you're in Ohio, right?
Yes, sir.
Is it snowing up there?
Oh, we got hammered today. Remember yesterday when I told you it was bad yesterday? No,
Yeah.
It's terrible today.
Yeah, we got snow over here in Nashville as well. So
How much?
I don't know. I haven't been out there. It's not like yours, I'm sure. But was that game canceled that you were telling me about?
No, they didn't. They did not cancel it. I posted some pictures last night that you would think that they would cancel this basketball game. And it's still wild to me that they're even having it with, the human malware going on, but
Yeah.
they're still doing it. But no, they didn't cancel it. So last night I was there late.
So you mentioned that you have a full-time job, and you talked about it in finance. Do you recommend doing that? Are you trying to get out of that? Like, what's kind of been the way that you've been able to? How have you been able to balance that? I think there's a lot of people listening to this that are in your that are in your same shoes. Their parents, they have a full-time job, but they also want to do content, on the internet. What is it? I mean, how do you do it? It's crazy. You're also working out all the time.
Yeah. I really think it's just the mindset of like you got to get it done. It's very challenging. It's very stressful sometimes. But I always tell people, like, if you want something bad enough, you got to make time for it. And
Yeah.
like Dave, I'm not like being funny. I have done literally everything under the sun legally I can to try to like break through to financial freedom. And I've been unsuccessful. I've learned something from it every time, but I've been unsuccessful. And I feel like YouTube is the one thing that I'm finally good at. I'm finally starting to gain traction on it. And I see other people around me and I understand that I'm seeing how much money they make from it. So I know that it's, possible to make full-time income just by creating online.
Yeah.
So I do have an exit strategy. So I'm hoping to, the thing is like when you have a family, you can't just be sporadic with these decisions when you are taking care of everybody. So it has to be calculated.
Yeah.
So I do have an exit strategy where that's why I'm lining up like this business to be a notary signing agent. That will in turn allow me to leave my job. And I think the important thing is like for me, I can see that YouTube works. The proof of concept works. How can you scale it? You know what I'm saying? And for me, scaling that is you got to scale it. The only way I can scale that is to get more time back for myself. So, I've seen like channels like Peter Lindgren. I'm sure you probably know who he is, where he lost his job, and then that for him was the catalyst that allowed him to go super hard on YouTube, which in turn scaled his income, etc. So I do have an exit strategy, but I think at the end of the day, you just got to make time for the stuff you want to make time for if you really want it bad enough. If you want it, you'll make time for it.
Yeah, and for me, that was about 3 weeks ago when my wife sat me down and said, David, I need you to take a break. And I said, yes, darling.
Yeah. Breaks are good, man.
And having relationships is good too. So always that balance is important. But like you said, I'm in the same boat. I mean, I'm coming off of working for Indie Mogul, and now I don't know what I'm gonna do. So that's a whole nother story in of itself. But me leaving was my choice. I quit to give my family a better life here, in Nashville rather than LA. And so I'm kind of in a weird limbo right now myself. I don't know why I'm bringing all my problems into this. But yeah, hopefully that inspires some people to get out there and just create. Um, One of the things that was really mind blowing for me too, coming from being a freelance creator, was how like you said, how much money people are making in YouTube, and not only the high end, of course, Mr. Beast making tens of millions of dollars, Logan Paul tens of millions of dollars, David Dobrik again millions and millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you have these people who are essentially celebrities, on YouTube. But even within our niche, the camera filmmaking niche, this small community of people, I always look to Peter McKinnon as kind of the metric of like what is sort of possible if you're really good. But he definitely has this crossover of like people just watch him who maybe even aren't into photography because he's such a great personality. I think Matty Apoya has done a really great job with his channel. Potato Jet. Kai W has had just longevity through this.
I love Kai.
Kai's amazing.
It's one of my favorite channels.
And so you see like Kai, Caleb Pike from DSLR Video Shooter, all these people like them, they've been on for over a decade now. And then you have people like Matty who've only been on for 3-4 years, but have created a successful business. So it's kind of nuts how even in a niche like this, you can make, well over 6 figures, which is a healthy amount of money
Right.
for somebody, especially not living in New York City,
I just think I think it's wild the times that we live in, man.
It really is.
It's crazy because we can have conversations with our children now where if they say, hey, I want to be a YouTuber, like, that's a real thing now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
10 years ago, you'd be like, get out of here, go to school, get a job, etc. But, I look at some of these channels that maybe, I mean, I do know people in the photography niche who are clearing 5 figures a month. You know what I'm saying? But you look at some other channels like, I take a lot of inspiration from the younger generation because I'm 35, so I feel old. But you got kids out here, like literally kids, 18, 19 years old, making $800,000-$900,000 a month. You know what I'm saying? So like, Daddy, I want to be a YouTuber is now a real conversation. It's crazy the world that we live in.
It's amazing too, because it's really opened up the doors for anybody to create, no matter where you live, no matter where you come from. There's no producers, with a clipboard deciding who is going to make it. It really just depends on how hard are you willing to work and how, that's really it. How hard are you willing to work?
And there's an audience for everybody too. And like, I always put that in perspective to people too. Like people, I want to start a channel for XYZ. There's somebody out there for you. And even if you could capture a 100% of the total people searching for that, you are still successful because there's so many people watching YouTube.
Yeah.
And it connects with so many people around the entire world. It's wild to me.
Yeah, I was in a Clubhouse room the other day. Mr. Beast was on it and a couple other YouTubers. And he mentioned that. He was like, pretty much any niche, no matter what it is, you can make a full-time living. Like what's the average? The average income in America is like 60,000, like the overall average.
Is it
like,
that high?
Yeah, so you can, I think so. I mean, you obviously account for the people who make a lot of money and it offsets it.
Right.
When you're averaging it, but I think it's like 50 or 60,000. Like that's pretty, that's pretty doable for YouTube if you just, crank out videos. I just know from experience, doing 2 videos a week, treating it like a job, you can make that much money fairly quickly too if you're just doing the research and looping into the algorithm. Again, I think we're a little spoiled because the camera industry has pretty high CPM, and it also has the affiliate links tied to these very expensive cameras. So when if I talk about the A7S III and somebody buys it using my link, I mean, that's a $3,500 purchase that I'm getting a commission off of, versus, like a makeup girl selling a $5 lip gloss. She's not going to make any affiliate off of that. So you have to scale it. You have to get millions of people to watch it to make any money. But anyways, I'm getting into the weeds here. But it is pretty amazing that pretty much anybody can make a living doing
on
this.
YouTube.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, what you talked about the finance channel. What do you have any plans for that? Like, do you have a name for it? Do you have a direction for it? Something we could kind of look out for?
Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm gonna call it yet. It's gonna be based around notary signing, but I don't want it to be just a notary signing channel. I'm using notary signing because I got to play the game. I got to play the algorithm game. It's a huge thing right now, notary signing agents. Yep, because people are starting to find out how much money you can make as a notary signing agent. And there's a shortage because the rates are so low and people are looking for ways to make money.
Huh.
So for algorithmic purposes, it's going to be based around that. But I want it to be more so like just like a finance channel, like my journey financially, tips and tricks, stuff like that. So I'm not sure what I'm going to call it yet. All of that stuff is still in the works. I also,
Nice.
I'm still trying to figure out how I want to organize it. Like if I want it to be like an LLCS corp or whatever. So I'm still trying to figure all that stuff out first before I start my YouTube channel. But should be within the next 60 days. I can't really give you any hints on what to look for because I don't have those yet.
I guess
But
we'll see on your Twitter.
Stay tuned. Yeah, it'll be on my Twitter.
And then obviously your amazing channel already, Terry Warfield, tight shirt, Terry. Everybody go check him out. We're excited to see the content that you create. Hopefully you can get your hands on an A1. I would love to see a review of that.
Man, Sony playing around. They need to.
They're doing so many cameras right now. It's insane.
My God, but it's so amazing to see them, regardless of what people say. Like just camera after camera after camera, and each one serves a specific purpose, whether people want to admit it or not.
Yeah.
So it is. So I have talked to Sony. Obviously I don't have a huge channel, so I don't get dibs on them when they only get 20 of them. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, sure.
I'm expecting to get one hopefully within the next month or two to test out.
Oh, sweet, dude. That's awesome.
I can't wait to test it out.
I mean, that is one of the benefits of being a Sony shooter. They see that and they like that, and they'll hook you up. Hopefully this coronavirus thing will be over soon, and they'll start doing all the events again. That was one of the most enjoyable parts of this job, was like going to the Sony events, going to NAB, those types of things. So hopefully that happens again this year. I don't know. We'll see. All right, Terry. Well, thanks again for being on the Golden Hour podcast. Everybody go subscribe to his amazing YouTube channel and tell him that you found him on the Golden Hour show. And Terry, thanks again. Nice to meet you officially on Zoom here. And we'll be buddies now, right?
Well, we're buddies now, and thanks again for having me on here, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks, man.
How about we both get some sleep because we're tired dads?
Yeah, I'm actually considering going to have some coffee right now. As crazy as that sounds.
Okay. Well, I am not going to do that. I'm going to go to sleep. All right. Thanks again, man, for coming on.
Thanks, man.
Talk
appreciate
soon.
it.